What's up, everyone? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening with the market moving forward as we're seeing some bears stepping in again, and how this may end up affecting the charts as time progresses. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice, and also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15, and the offer ends very soon in just 2 days. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to mention to everyone that at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. So look for some volatility during this time when these auctions end up being released. But besides that, unfortunately, guys, even though SPY had this nice looking bullish wedge-like pattern that was forming, okay, I did mention to everyone I wanted to see if this would hold at least 546, and I was hoping that this would try to break. I did tell you to watch for confirmation to get that breakout, but instead it ended up failing. It failed to get that breakout. We failed to hold 546, so I'm seeing some weakness developing on SPY. We ended up dipping all the way down to the 544s, and so far we're just kind of struggling to hold it, so it's not a very, very good sign. If we failed to close above 544 on the hourly time frame, it's not going to be a good sign as well if we fail to do so. So our target would be, all the way down in the 542s. Now, we do have the bill auction coming out, so we'll see what kind of reaction we get. But that's where we have this next major support. That's where we have our next critical support. And if that fails, if we end up losing 542, we have this gap to fill all the way down in the 539s. So you want to be very careful with SPY. It's looking kind of lackluster right now. Our resistance happens to be at 544, not to mention 545.07. That's going to be our 50 EMA, followed by the 547 area. So we did push. We got a pump in the morning. Okay, we did pump early on. We were talking about a pump that was coming, and we did get it, but the move ended up failing. The move has failed since. It hasn't been able to break out since. And if anything, the Bears are once again back in action, taking control. So the Bears are the ones who have the edge as of right now. It all depends on where SPY closes and if we can reclaim some levels. We need to reclaim 544 and also 547. If we break that, that's how we could turn bullish. If we're below 544 and stay like this, it's not going to look too good. There's going to be a risk with the 542s. So you have to be very, very careful, guys. There is, a big shift right now. The bears are coming back. If you look at others out there like ES, it's the same thing essentially. ES had a nice bullish wedge that was forming. This was favoring, the upside. It had a very, very nice looking structure. But instead of playing out, we got a rejection. And what happened was we popped only to drop. So this was another liquidity grab, triggering stops. Then we started to dip. And as we dipped, you guys can see there's a shift here. So we had this low here at 55.07. They pumped us to dump us below that. So that's a lower high we're starting to make. So it's starting to shift a little bit for a temporary little dip. Make sure you watch 54.90 to see if we can hold that on ES. If we don't hold that, we could be dipping all the way down to the 54.70s. You want to be very careful. ES is showing some weakness, and this is also dragging SPY down. That's SPX is doing the same thing essentially. We have a range that's worth watching. So if we were to break through, this is what we need to do to turn bullish. 54.90 around that area. We did almost tag that today, only to reject. If we had broken that, we could have tried to push higher, but we failed to do so. So now we have this support over here around 54.45. If that fails, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 54.20. And there's going to be a risk of some more downside on SPX. It's slowing down on the 1 hour time frame, unfortunately, not looking too good. But it depends if we could hold this support. So make sure you watch 54.40. See if we hold that. So we're actually pretty close to it. So give it some time. We'll see if it holds or not. We're just barely at support. So let's hope for the best and see how it goes. There's other tickers like Tesla. We pumped really hard thanks to the bullish price targets from Morgan Stanley. But 234 was touched, only to reject off of it. And there's a big algo shift. So what's happening is you have other tickers like SPY, yes, and the others which are starting to slow. And we're seeing the market kind of moving in very collectively. The whole market's kind of slowing together, and Tesla's getting dragged down as a part of that. So on Tesla, you're going to be looking to see if we could try to reclaim 229. If that fails, I see a risk of Tesla coming all the way down to, I'd say 227, then eventually 225. 225 would be a really good target so far, so it's looking kind of weak. We have resistance at 229.5 and then 232 and 235. Let's just see if we could hold the 229s. If not, we could be on our way all the way down to the 225s. So be careful, guys. We'll see how things go, but there is a little bit of weakness developing on Tesla's results. For Nvda is also dipping all the way down to this 112 area. We have a range right here. As you guys can see, the last 3 days, it's been back and forth and back and forth. We love to get bought up in the 112, so we'll see if that holds. If it doesn't hold, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 109. So you want to be very careful with Nvidia. For Bitcoin, we're also dipping at a big rejection right now. Make sure you look at resistance at 68,500. And we also have the support at 67,250. We're looking a little bit more bearish on Bitcoin, so watch for that very carefully. For NQ, looking kind of weak right now. We're also dipping back down to 19,000. We'll have to see if that holds. It looks a little bit more bearish. The QQQ needed to hold 466. We failed to do so. We pushed, only to reject. So the move has failed so far. Watch 462 as one support, 462.8, then 461. If we lose 461, we could be dipping all the way down to fill this gap around the 458. If we hold 461, we could try to rebound towards 464, but this is looking kind of bearish to me, and I do see a risk of us dipping a little bit lower, so watch for that. For others out there, we have Aapl. Apple's on a bit of a downtrend on this 50 EMA, so that's showing a little bit of weakness, and I think that there's a risk of 216. The 216s would likely be our next target right here on Aapl. I'm continuing to see a downtrend being respected. To be bullish, you want to see this try to break past 220. We haven't done so yet, so this is favoring 216. For others out there, we have the IWM. We needed to break the high at 226 to break out. We failed to do so, only to come back down. So it's a very tricky market. I want to see it reclaim 222.8 to turn back up our 50 EMA. If it doesn't reclaim the 222.8 area, we have 222 as supports. And if that fails us, 220 is coming next. So just be careful, guys. For Coinbase, we're also rejecting, kind of dipping right over here. We're on a bit of a downtrend. This is also forming like a large head and shoulders. So I'm a little bit concerned about coin right here. The setup is a little bit more bearish, so you want to be very, very careful. For Aapl, looking a little bit weak. There's a bit of a downtrend. Make sure you look at support around 182.8. If that fails us, we could continue to dip to 182. I'm sorry, Amazon. Did I say Apple? I meant Amazon. Watch 182. We'll have to see if we could hold above 182. If that fails us, 180 is coming next. It's not going to look too good. To be bullish, you want to break past 184. The setup looks decent overall, but this will depend on a lot of earnings. It's still barely holding its 50 EMA, so we'll see if it could hold around this. But look at 182 as a more pivotal level. So we'll see how things go from there. For Meta, we're seeing the same thing. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. If we break past 474, we'll be looking for 478. If we fail to do so, I'll be looking for 460. So look at 467.5. If that fails us, there's going to be a big rug pull. We're barely at support, so give this some time. And the last two I'm going to do, I'll do 4 more actually, just real quick. Microsoft is also kind of rejecting right here. We need to hold above 425. If that fails us, we'll be dipping back down to 423. For Google, we're also dipping. We're barely holding 170. That's our 20 EMA. If that fails us, this imbalance will fill towards 168. So be careful, guys. Google is showing some weakness. GameStop had a head and shoulders that formed. We kind of pumped only to dump back down. Now we're kind of shuffling around 23.8. If this fails us, we'll continue to dip towards 23.5. So I see some weakness. AMC is looking decent, trying to uptrend, but we got to hold above 5.11. We'll see if that holds or not. So that's going to be another very, very key level. Anyways, guys, the bears are returning. They are trying to push the market lower. We'll have to see how well we hold up, especially as data is about to come out. So we'll see how it goes. I think what matters as well is going to be close. Can SPY try to reclaim 544 and 546, or are we going to continue to dip? As of right now, we are dipping, looking kind of weak, and there is a risk of more downside. So just be careful, and we'll see how things end up going. But I want to give you guys a warning about this. Things are shifting intraday for the markets. We had bullish signals, but a lot of them are getting invalidated. We'll see how things close, and we'll be very patient. I'll see you guys in about 2 to 3 hours for another update. Until then, have a great day, guys, and peace out.